Oh, guys, good, you're here. I am so excited. Guess what?
I hope this isn't about your podcast again.
Why, did you finally listen to it?
I came in like a wrecking ball.
The Groomer Next Door is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Welcome to the Groomer Next Door. You're listening to my mommy and daddy.
And now our feature presentation.
And here's your host, my mommy and daddy, Chris and Stella Green.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Groomer Next Door. This is episode 77, and I'm your co-host, Chris Green. Sitting next to me is the fabulous and the delightful, and only being at its noon o'clock, Sarah.
Hello.
Hey, we're actually recording early for us. This is actually major early. I am kind of happy about that.
I kind of figured if we can get this done and done right, I can go take a nap.
I like it. I actually like that.
Sundays are my nap days. I feel kind of bad for the folks that have like a ginormous family, meaning 2 kids and plus, that they never really get to actually nap anymore. Now that Claire's older and plays on her own, nap time.
She doesn't play on her own. That's the problem. One of us will get a nap. One of us will be a jungle gym for Claire.
Ooh, ooh.
Yep, I'll be the jungle gym. So call me Jim today. Well, we are coming to you actually on a nice day, which should have been rainy. I think it still wants to be a rainy day, but it's actually quite nice out here. So I'm enjoying being outside.
It rained earlier, so hopefully it stays at bay for a while, at least until we're done with this.
And hopefully the birds will keep chirping and make nice little sound effects in the background.
Yes.
Well,
You get the wind rustling the leaves in the trees that stand tall above us. Sorry.
nope, good.
Corny.
Very good. You're painting a really pretty scene for everybody. Well, we will, of course, dive into our weekly roundup. We will have an Ain't Nobody Got Time for That moment of the week. We have pup news and a little bit more. So, we'll go into our countdown in the news portion of the show. But let's start off with the weekly roundup. I don't remember a darn thing because it was 6 days this week, and I don't remember a darn thing of it.
No, I remember.
Oh, you remember something. That beats one of us. Okay.
Yes. And you'll remember this too.
I have amnesia.
We have had the worst luck in scheduling.
Oh, yeah, that's why I have amnesia.
We are such suckers at the salon and at our shop that, other than you and Craig are pretty on point.
Yes.
No, I'm sorry, we don't have room.
Yes.
Keith, Laura, and I are like, well, we can put in an extra couple hours and do it.
Yeah.
Or
okay,
skip a lunch break and do it.
It's not that I'm actually, being difficult or, a little bit of tight on it. I know how difficult it is, and and for me, this is where we actually are different. I want to make sure we have a lot of dogs, but I want to make sure that we're able to get it all done without, running too far over. You, on the other hand, you take the look. We can get your dog in, but it may be here for a little bit longer. And of course, they're happy. They're really happy because they want to get their dog in,
and they want it done right.
That's it.
So they're willing to leave their dog, pretty much all day. Because it's some of the dogs that we've taken in where, okay, we'll take your dog in the morning. We'll get it washed when we can. I'll work on it a little bit throughout the day when I have a break or if I finish the dog sooner than I expected. And eventually, at the end of the day, it'll be done and ready for you to go home. And done professionally and properly and well taken care of. Your pup will have potty breaks.
That's what I was going to jump in. They do get potty breaks.
They get their water. They can bring a snack with them for the dog. Treats is always good. Most of the staff ends up going in there and saying hi to the dogs who are there all day. because it's not fun, but it needs to get done.
But it is a social event, though, for the dogs. Because they're in kennels that, they can see the other dogs and they can kind of interact with each other. They can't touch each other, obviously, but they can interact. So it is a social experience. So I guess, in a sense, you can look at it and go, oh, well, they're in a box that they can't see anything. Oh, it's actually full 360-degree angle that they can see through.
Right.
So it's not really that big of a deal. I just,
And what's great about this place that we work at now at Shadowwood, the kennels are so much larger than when I worked over at my other salon. The other salon, if you have a small dog, they got a small kennel.
Yeah.
This one, if we have a small dog, they get a pretty big sized kennel where you can actually fit 2 of them in there comfortably.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And they can both turn around totally completely. They can
walk
jump.
back and forth.
Yeah, they can walk back and forth. They can jump. So the kennels are actually rather large. So it's not as confined as some folks would think it would be.
Yeah, actually, that's the big thing. You can lay a big towel down from end to end.
And we got nice fluffy towels for them to lay on.
So it's comfortable. There's no problem in that area. I
don't know how many times I look at the
and they're sleeping
crates.
happily.
No, I look at the huge crates and I'm like, oh, I could curl up right there with you. Pass out on a nice, soft, fluffy belly.
Yes. I will walk in there and, I'm not blow drying at this point. I'm just going to walk in there to get another dog and I'll see a dog on its side sleeping, just going, I'm relaxed.
Or belly up.
Right?
With their legs kind of up in the air and just pass out with the wind blowing on
or
them.
twitching when they're having a puppy dream. Oh, yeah. Happens all the time.
But the major scheduling problem that we had is too many big dogs on one day.
Yeah.
I remember one day you and I went through 3 large dogs, and they all 3 had to be Labradoodles on top of another 3 small dogs. I'm like, oh my gosh, you can't go to grooming school soon enough.
Right? Oh, that was rough. Yeah, that was a rough one. I could not believe when I looked at that.
And it's not going to stop.
Hush, woman, hush.
Which is very good because, we are very blessed to have such, so many people in our area that trust us and who love what we do and how we do it, that they are willing to wait. Yeah. They're willing to come in at a rush notice if somebody had to reschedule and we call up another dog. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't rush. It's okay. Be safe. I
do like that, though. I love I'll be there in 20 minutes, and they're there in 10. So they were doing 60 on the way in. And I honestly, that is kind of funny. They're so appreciative, man. They get those dogs in the car, and they are peeling off rubber.
And that's one thing Jeff taught me back in California. He kept saying to his customers, hey, don't rush. I'm here. The appointment's for you. Don't get a speeding ticket. Don't be unsafe on the road. It's okay. That's not that important.
I think one thing that made me laugh this week is you made quite a few scheduling errors. Laura, I think, had one of them. Keith did have one. I know he had Monday.
No. That wasn't Keith. That was Chloe. Before she left.
Oh, okay. Well, I know.
And it really wasn't her fault because I said it was okay to put those 2 golden retrievers down to be put, for grooming in the morning.
Well, yeah, but that was affecting on me.
Normally they only get trims. They only get little tidies. No, they want full-blown haircuts.
Wait, that's right. We had 2.
Yes.
So we had golden retriever and then the German shepherds this week.
Yeah,
the BBNs on them.
And Labradoodles.
The German shepherds are the ones that stood out for me because they're a simple bath brush and nails, and they don't like their nails done. They do not want their heads worked on. Well, they are the sweetest, though.
Well, what's nice about these German Shepherds is that they are show dogs. They do go to shows, and she trusts us to get them ready for the show. And another thing is that this one lady has 4 German Shepherds.
And they're unique, though. They have a unique personality that I am absolutely baffled by.
They are all different. Not a single one of them are the same. They all have different...
There's the one thing about them is that they growl, they bark, and they do not... They're very territorial around everybody but us.
Yes.
And that's what got me about these dogs. And trust me, folks, if you don't know how a German Shepherd, when they want to bark, man, they can project from the diaphragm. They are just woof.
Oh, yeah, they are very stunning.
Intimidating.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
intimidating bark. And I don't know why we are different.
Anybody
but
who walks into that, Keith walked through. They went. Both
Poor
of them.
Laura.
Poor Laura.
Poor Laura.
Yeah, that was the weird part, man. And it startled her. She was taking some of the dirty towels, the ones that I had just used. They were wet towels. They're not dirty, but they're wet towels. After we use them one time, we wash them, of course. And she was taking them out of the basket, and the German Shepherd, woof, and it threw her back. And she's like, see, this is what they do to me every time. Why do they do this? And honestly, they do it with everybody but you and I.
Yeah.
They trust us.
Well, that and the fact that one of the shepherds, the lady had to go in and have the dog sedated in order to trim the nails.
Before
Yes.
us.
And then now I told her, well, let me try.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with trying. And if it's too much and the dog gets too stressed, we'll stop. And this is the safest bet.
Isn't that how we actually earned her as a customer? Is she brought them in just for nails.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, okay, well, they do well for the nails. Let's try a bath. And that's how it all started, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. So now she doesn't have to go in and spend the $60-some to get her dog sedated and the nails trimmed. And when I mean sedated, I don't mean just a pill to make him, tranquil. No, this is an actual tranquilizer that makes him go to sleep.
And didn't she get them the nails done at the vet?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's the only place they do it.
I just wanted I want to clarify it all because I remember the story.
Oh yeah, last week's story where the vet was giving out.
That was that was something different.
Yeah, but still, if he's going to give out that medicine, he's going to give out another medicine.
Oh man.
See to last week's episode.
Yep. Revert back to episode 76.
But anywho,
I just was thinking.
We had them. They hate their ears done. I remember the one shepherd. I don't know if they're all blending together. I don't think it was.
It was the second one. It wasn't Wendy.
Okay. Oh, it was the second one.
Yeah.
She started screaming.
Yeah.
And then she stopped. Oh.
Doesn't like does not like her head or anything touched.
Well, yeah, but she thought it was gonna hurt her ears.
I know.
And all she felt is just a cool cotton ball, and then she just stopped. She screamed bloody murder, and then was like, "Oh, well, that's it."
And again, here's a dog that can be very intimidating to anybody but us, which is so funny. And here you put it, because the owner gives us turkey or chicken or dog treats to feed them while we're doing things, and you put it in your hand, and here they're so gentle, but you look at how they are, and you're going, I don't know if I would actually want anybody else to do this.
It's so funny how they take the treat out of my hand or your hand.
Yeah.
They lift their lips up and just use their teeth so ever gently just to take it out. It is amazing. Some dogs, they just take off your entire hand.
Oh, yeah. You got finger sandwiches.
I have to watch it with Roxy and Katana because sometimes they get a little too rambunctious and they want to go for fingers and, simple, easy. Yeah. Easy.
Oh, I love those German Shepherds. The only thing I can really take out of it is when I was brushing them out, oh my gosh, I had more hair than some of your grooms.
And she said she washed the dogs prior,
a
couple weeks in advance, because when they go through their shed, it's so much and so intense. It takes a few times, just like with Katana or Akita.
Right.
It takes a lot to do that. And she was baffled by how much hair we got off of them, even after all the work she did.
It must be weird. I'm looking over at the door and I see Claire there watching us doing this. This has got to be kind of one of those weird things. Like, I don't know what my mommy and daddy do with this, but this is weird.
Or she'll go to school and say,
my mommy and dad are podcasters.
What, your mom and dad aren't?
Right. Right.
This is norm for her.
It is a normal thing. She sees a microphone and it's all normal. That's got to be weird.
And so that was pretty much our week. It's just super busy.
I did like yesterday, though, on Saturday, when we came in on Saturday, because we have such a number of people who are trying to come in. Now we have to kind of fit them in some way. And I love the size of dogs.
The tiny ones?
The tiny ones.
Oh, another problem. People are showing up on the wrong days.
Oh, yeah, we had that, too. That was Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday.
I get after everybody who checks in my dogs. You checked in the wrong dog at the wrong day.
You added an extra dog to us. What are we going to do?
Do you realize this adds another hour to my day? Do you realize what you just did to me?
Yeah.
And then I go and I take in another dog that was meant for the day or the next day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
I did it this time. I stepped in it.
Oh, I sure did step on it or in it. Where do I wipe my shoe off? But luckily, the lady washed the dog.
Didn't she realize that happened?
She realized. She came in and she apologized up one way and down the other. She goes, I thought it was today. I made sure to give her a bath prior.
Which helps me. That helped me. I was like, I got an extra dog. Oh, I don't have to do this, dog.
Well, unfortunately, the dog suffers from severe anxiety.
Well, we talked about it. It's both sides, though. This is a two-way street, though.
Yes, it's a two-way street, and unfortunately, Jazzy had a problem with the prior groomer, and the owner wasn't going to bring the dog back again because the dog went home freaked out each and every time. Until, Keith told her, look, we got a new groomer. She's a lot better, a lot more patience. Please just give her a few times, try. Sure enough, she went and washed the dog herself, brought her into me. I convinced her, hey, please let us wash her because I can get her fluffy, or Chris can get her fluffy and soft, and she'll look a lot better.
She liked it. She did like it, and the dog responded really well. This is where the two-way street comes in. She was in our salon for probably another half hour or so longer. And the owner ended up having that anxiety, which, look, we've talked about this numerous times. We understand this. This is one thing that we can understand more than a lot of people. Animals can be a necessity to not only you, but to them needing you. So it's a two-way street. They need you, you need them. Sometimes you need them a little bit more. They are a great source of stress relieving. So I get that.
and see what Jazzy's owner. I said, okay, we will comply to everything that you need us to. Your dog has anxiety problems. You feel the anxiety, so it just multiplies that way.
Right.
So if you want to wash her at home, here are some tips to get her as clean as I need her to cut.
She does a good job, though.
Now she does. Now she's taken my advice on how to get her clean and cleaned properly, that the cut doesn't look the greatest because it's not force blown to where it's fluffy. There goes my truck. ADD. Anywho, she's taken on my advice, and the dog's super clean, not a single problem. We were able to coach her through the bathing process, and she's listened.
Yeah.
So now, when Jazzy comes in, I start on that dog right away before my first dogs are washed by you.
Right. And yeah, that actually made it nice. It worked out. It worked out great.
And then it worked out because the next day...
there it goes again.
Because the next day was so ridiculously busy that it was a good thing we didn't have her there.
Yeah, it did work out. Well, and that's our week. Of course, like I said, we did 6 days. I'm definitely feeling it. I know you're feeling it. It's not last week that I'm worried about. It's this week trying to
I'm
get
not
through
feeling it right now. I got a 5-hour energy shot.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it so much. Oh, man. All right.
Good.
Well, good. Until the 5-hour energy shot wears off and then you end up asleep, which I may join you on that one. All right, well, let's move on to this week's Ain't Nobody Got Time for That moment.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
A man saves a dog from a hot car, but then he's arrested because of how he saved that dog.
This story has a lot of people picking sides on social media. 11 Alive's Latasha Gibbons reports.
I'm not a hero.
You're looking at a picture of Michael Hammond moments before he broke a car window to save a dog on a hot summer's day.
I just did what had to be done.
The problem is, this isn't his Mustang, and that move landed him behind bars.
I heard somebody say there was a dog in distress in a hot car.
Without thinking, this Desert Storm vet leapt into action. Diane Bayard says she and a group of shoppers noticed the dog in the car and were waiting for police before Hammonds came.
And he says, I can't let this dog die, and he starts smashing the windows.
And with his wife's wheelchair leg, he smashed the window, freeing the dog.
I got PTSD, and I've seen enough death and destruction and I didn't want anything else to happen if I could prevent it.
But witnesses say when the owner came out of the store, she was furious and demanded deputies take action.
We would not have made those charges on our own. The deputies on scene tell me that the owner of the car and of the dog were very insistent that he be charged.
She told police it had only been 5 minutes.
It wasn't just 5 minutes, as the lady stated. It was a lot longer. I personally felt the heat in the car. I saw the dog panting.
We knocked on her door and called her by phone, but could not reach her.
If it's 80 degrees outside, within 30 minutes it'll be 114 degrees inside the vehicle, even with the windows cracked.
All right, the owner was cited for leaving the dog in the hot car, but without surveillance video, deputies say it is pretty hard to tell how long that dog was left inside.
State law does allow you to break a window to save a child in a hot or a cold car for that matter, but not a pet. Something animal advocates are working to change.
Now, as they said, this was a discussion on social media that I picked up on this the day it actually happened. I heard about it right away, which is kind of weird. Some things actually come right away to us. Some things were a day or two later. I had a discussion with local animal shelter, John Redshaw. He had posted a video of a different report. Same report, just different. The same story, different reporters. I felt like his did not have the in-depth like this one. Now, personally, this is where we're always saying we advocate for animal laws to be a lot stricter. You know, we've made this claim many a times. There needs to be, kind of like the sex offenders, there needs to be animal abusers that are notified, a notification where you have to enroll yourself in that program. So nobody can get near an animal because they're an abuser. I'm not sure if I would actually go that severe with this lady. I think the person, I've heard that she's 22 years old. Obviously, she's not in the brightest, I would say. Not to be, terribly rude, but she's not the brightest. You can't walk into any store and be out in 5 minutes, unless it's a liquor store, convenience store. Then you can't. But this wasn't either of those.
Yeah, because I remember being a young kid in Oregon. Okay, so that means I was in 2nd grade, 3rd grade at the eldest. And my mom would leave us in the truck. And she would run into the gas station real quick.
Yeah, but nowadays you would never even do that with somebody that's that young or that old.
Right, because there's so many horrible people out there. I mean, there was horrible people back then too.
I still wonder about that. I still think that our when we were kids in the 90s, I still think that they were, in some sense, rougher. But maybe it was to where we lived. Where I lived, I thought it was rougher than it would have been probably, say, here. Or maybe even in Oregon.
But we were left in the car for, 5 minutes. 10 minutes at most, depending on how many people are in the line.
Right.
And my mom always had sight of us. She would run into the bank real quick.
Right.
And my brother and I would be in there. I remember being able to get my bike out when we lived in California and ride up and down the cul-de-sac. My parents were sitting out on the porch watching us. We had a great little cul-de-sac and everybody watched out for everybody.
Right.
So it's not oh my gosh, the dog's gonna die in 2 seconds. But when it gets retarded, I'm sorry, 5 minutes to go into an actual store.
Yeah.
A store, not a convenience store, not a gas station.
An actual store.
But an actual store. It does not take you 5 minutes.
No.
Because you got to go find your item that you're looking for, and then you got to proceed to checkout. And you got to wait for your credit card to run through, or count out your cash. That is not 5 minutes. And in 80 degrees, with the windows rolled up.
Which was I think 112 degrees.
112, 140, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a massive hot. And it was a little Yorkie, if I'm not mistaken.
With a little dog.
Yeah.
That I say more power to him.
I would have done it. I would have broke the window.
There's steps that you need to take to do it. You can't just go bust a window. All right.
Okay, but now the difference is it depends on where you're at. If you're in a big city, it may take police to respond a little bit longer than it would in a smaller town.
What you do is you call the cops.
Yes.
And you tell them right over the phone, full disclosure, if you are not here by the time this dog shows serious signs of heat stroke, I am busting this window and I'm taking this dog out. And I would have honestly taken it one step further and jumped in my car and stole the dog. Honest to goodness. Because if I'm going to go to jail for it, I'm getting the dog out of it.
I'm going all the way
kidding.
here.
I'm kidding, guys. It was just a joke.
I'm going all the way. If I'm going to jail, I'm going to jail for the right reasons.
It's just a joke. Anywho, a dog can sit there panting.
Yeah.
But if the dog starts laying on its side, the dog needs to be taken out right away. If the dog doesn't want to move, doesn't want to come to you, doesn't want to bark at you, is just laying on its side lethargic, it's time to get that dog out. Whether that is 2 seconds after you call the cops or 5 minutes after you call the cops. But you got to tell them.
Right.
This dog is already suffering. And now with technology, with cell phones, get your cell phone out, record a video, and then record a video of you actually breaking the window. So you have proof yourself. Technology can be your key here to help. And it makes me so mad I can hardly talk.
I mean, it's a frustrating, and it's definitely, topic. You're going to hear people say that the veteran was in the wrong, but those are the people that would do this. Those are the people that would be like, well, it's just a dog, you own it, so who cares if you kill it? And that's the mentality of a lot of these people out there. Now, I think we're going to go on the other side of it. It's like, it's a living creature. It's not a thing. It's not just something that exists around you. It's not just something that you bought.
Okay, one thing about animal abusers, and why I think there should be a registry for it. And this is along the line of animal abuse.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly cannot say a child's life is equally important to a dog's life. Children, I'd do anything for Claire.
Yeah.
I will make sure she has a home. And if that has to be a place without my dogs, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm going to do everything in my absolute power to make sure my dogs stay with me.
Right.
So this registry that you were talking about for animal abusers, if you look at any psychotic person out there, any mass murderer, any sicko, any child abuser starts out with abusing animals.
Right.
Being wildlife, any kind of bird, a rabbit, a
dog, a cat.
Well, even as small as a mouse.
Yeah.
Stepping on mice. And they can take those little tiny things that is proven that they start out as animal abusers.
Right.
So they need to be put on a registry, because if you don't stop them abusing the animals, how's going to stop them from abusing children?
Well, that's
or becoming criminals or mass murderers.
That's it.
And a lot of this starts at a very young age.
It always starts at a young age.
And unfortunately, children aren't put on registries, but they need to be not looked over. It needs to be nipped in the bud right away.
Right, and that's where this comes out. See, that's where the argument's going to go. Why would you put a kid on there? Because that kid is going. If it's a 13-year-old, let's just use that as your starting point here. Let's say John Doe is a 13-year-old child who has a history of killing animals, whether it's mice, like Sarah said, to dogs or cats or birds or whatever. And it's just this violent history.
And a lot of times it's not just a real quick kill. It's a torture.
Yeah.
It's a sign of torture. They like pulling wings off of, flies. And I mean,
little boys are going to do things like that.
They
I
burn
never
ants, did. They step on spiders. I remember this one kid over at the park that smushed the spider with his hand.
Funny.
I'm like,
I was like, oh my gosh.
Come on. I was looking at it.
It was a cool spider too. Yeah. Yeah. He's like, whack.
It's when it starts becoming constant, or they're starting to hide it.
Yeah.
Because they're ashamed of doing it, but they're not going to stop.
But see, what's going to happen is that kid is going to grow into being a young man or young woman, and then let's just say they graduate on from actually harming animals to actually harming people. Well, this registry is going to actually show a pattern. then that pattern is going to be, well, this kid did this when they were so and so, and there's a history of it. That's where it's going to actually come into play that, oh my gosh, this kid actually, there was signs from, 5 years ago that this kid was a threat. Maybe he or she doesn't actually kill somebody, but actually violently hurts them. Well, with all this, it's going to actually show the pattern and maybe keep this kid off the street, because it's no longer a kid at this point, because all kids turn into adults.
Right.
So, a lot of you probably will disagree with this idea, and a lot of you probably will agree with it. But it's a good way of starting a history. And like we've said, even in the last episode, there were no registries, there were no organizations that protected children back early 80s and beyond. There weren't any of this. I mean, we've heard stories from our parents or grandparents that they were abused by their parents terribly. That, for example, my grandmother had wooden hangers broken over her by my great-grandmother. Yeah. It was, physically abusive parents that would punch their kid in the face and break their nose or give them black eyes or whatever. Those things actually happened until there was a registry and organizations that would step in, and that all has been amended to some degree. Now that's not completely gone. Of course, there's children abused every season, every second, every minute of the day. I speak English. Hello.
Kinda.
But I want to get passionate. I lose my voice there. But kids are abused all the time. At least there's a way of preventing it. This is where this comes into play.
Exactly, because it takes all of us to make sure that child's not being abused. It takes all of us to make sure the dog's not being abused.
Right.
I do not believe it takes a village to raise a child.
No.
I do not believe that one bit.
Because then there's too many people involved in your life.
It takes everybody to keep everybody honest.
I'm going to use an example. I know I'm actually doing a lot of talking here.
Yes, you are.
I'll use an example. I was a mid-teenager at the time. I was over by a movie place, and I saw this grown man walking with his wife and his son. His son was maybe my age, a little younger. And this guy took his kid and threw him at force to the ground. Just picked him and threw him to the ground. And you could tell it was an abusive husband and an abusive father. Well, even as a teenager, I was one of those people that I wasn't going to tolerate that crap. And I walked over and I was ticked off. And I got in the guy's face and I said...
You're a big 13-year-old.
I was about 15 maybe at the time. I was a big boy, but not tall-wise. Not ever husky or muscular, which I still am not. But I wish I was muscular. But I was a tall guy and I'm like, do that to me. Let's see. Unlike your son, I'm not going to just take that and be, pick myself up, probably hurt. I'm not going to do that. Do that to me and see what I'll do back to him. And I was in this guy's face.
And that's what's so great about the Purple Leash campaign that they have going on in Canada.
Yeah.
For abused family or coming from abusive families can help take care of the animals.
Right.
And, it's got to stop.
It has.
You intervened.
I did. And security came out. They had called the police. The wife was very timid. And no, it's okay. It's okay. I never did stop trying to get this guy to punch me. And I'm a very good antagonizer. I had many years of antagonizing. I continued to antagonize this guy to throw a punch. I wanted him to because...
And at least that kid will be safe for
exactly,
a couple days.
Exactly. Sadly enough, the police did arrive. The wife wouldn't press charges. The kid just got in the car and they drove off. I knew that man had done it before and will do it again. But at least somebody stood up to him.
And know that someone was there looking after him.
Right.
And that's the same thing with the animals.
Exactly.
And this is what this guy did. He's a war veteran. Mm-hmm. They suffer from PTSD all the time.
And he said he does.
And they see somebody in distress, they're going to do something. This is what the military breeds into these folks that go out and serve our country. Is that
defend the weaker.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so he was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I applaud him. I would love to meet this guy and shake his hand.
Yeah, I'm 100% supportive of him.
And it frustrates me because he was trying to make sure that dog doesn't get sick, because once a dog suffers so much heat, they will die.
Yeah.
There is no coming back from it, from a certain spot.
You can't come back from death.
And from a regular person who doesn't know average health, what's too far.
Yeah.
If he would have waited for police to come out, or if that lady ended up being another 15 minutes, how would he know that the dog was going to die anyways? I'm sorry, folks. This is a living, breathing life that feels pain.
Yeah. What would she have done if she came back to the car and her dog would have been dead? Guarantee she would have drove around the backside of the building, thrown it in the trash can, and probably gone to the shelter or a pet store or wherever and picked up a new one and would have thought nothing about it.
Yeah, because if you're going to roll up the windows on a hot, sunny day, even with the windows cracked, on a hot day, and you're leaving your dog in the car just to run out, and all of a sudden, the dog's sick and dies.
Yeah.
They're going to do it again.
Oh,
They're not going to learn from it.
No, there's no learning.
But if they're willing to do that, they're willing to do worse things too.
Well, they're just incompetent and they just don't care. So yeah, I mean, and I'm going to actually throw a kudos out there, an attaboy. We talk a lot about the Raw Animal Shelter. We've had the luxury of really seeing them in full capacity, and we'll go out and we'll see every so often, especially during this, the 2 times a year that are the most vital. Not like any time's not vital, but the worst is the cold, the severe cold, and the severe heat. And I don't know how many times I've been to Walmart or someplace, and I'll see Raw Animal Shelter, one of their vehicles right there, right in front of a vehicle, and they're talking to somebody, and you can see there's an animal present, and you know that they're either citing them or giving them that warning that, hey, look, this is not tolerated. You will end up being cited or worse.
Yeah, we got your make and model of your vehicle.
We got everything on you.
Your pertinent information. This happens again, we will take your dogs from
you.
And that's the way it should be.
Right. And that's where, I've noticed it. I've even seen John walk into Walmart and have a person paged. I've gone that far to see that. So I got to give it up to them. It's a little bit harder in a bigger city where police are expanded to the resources. I remember in California and LA, it was one officer for I think it was 50 to 100 people. So resources were a lot less in a big city, and that's all metropolitan cities. Smaller towns, you're able to actually have that. So, take one thing from this. Don't take the law in your own hands. Try to actually get the proper authorities out there.
Right. I would, like I said.
Yeah, that's why I'm commending you on what you said.
Call. Make those phone calls. Call the police department.
Document.
Warn them. If you're not here in 2 minutes, I'm breaking the glass. Yep. And if that happens, then you know what? I will be more than willing to pay for a window. If I'm charged with it, okay, fine. I'll pay your window, because your dog's life means more to me than a $250 window.
Right. And what's funny is that we wouldn't think twice about it being a kid. We got to take it in. We've actually seen kids 5 and less than 1 left in a car by themselves, and we've actually responded to those. We actually saw a police officer right a couple, I would say about 150 feet or something. We went right over to the cop. One of us stayed by the car, went over to the police officer, told her. She went right to that car. She waited for that lady to come back, and I don't know what she did, but I know that lady was in trouble.
Well, you hear all the time where, we listened to another radio station. They had Genius Awards.
Yes.
And one couple, this one mother left her 2 kids. One was in an infant seat. One was about 5 years old, in their car, while her booty call was parked next to her car, and they went and diddled in the van and left the 2 kids there.
Yeah.
In the car. Even though they were just a matter of feet from each other, it's still wrong. You're in a grocery store, left your dog in the car on a hot summer day, your car's not on. That's another thing. A lot of people have those start buttons where you don't have to have your key in the car.
Yeah.
Do something like that. You can go into the store and you can go shopping. You make sure your tank is full.
Yeah.
Make sure the AC is blasting and
Yeah.
it's going to be working the entire time.
Yeah.
Leave your car running.
Yeah.
And put the alarm on.
Yeah.
So many newer cars are like that. You can do it.
Yeah, you can auto start your car, but lock your car door.
And turn your AC on.
Yeah.
You know, there's stuff you can do and not be so moronic and leaving your dog in a hot car.
Right.
That lady had it coming to her.
Yeah, I think so.
And I would love to meet this guy and shake his hand and say, thank you for your service to our country. And thank you
for your
service
continued service to our country.
and to our animals that nobody seems to want to really give a crap about.
True. All right. Well, that should come to a close with that one.
Yeah, I think we kind of
went all the way with that.
Yes.
Well, let's go and join our two little groomer next door people in the newsroom. And we're joining the GND newsroom. You like that? GND News. Did that just throw you completely off?
Yes,
it did.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I was pulling that one out. So this is the GND portion of the podcast. This is where we actually cover all of our news that's going on with us, that are major news that we're breaking, news that's going around, whether it's local here or even now we have one from around the world on the other side, down under. This is where this segment comes in. I'm going to start off with our countdown clock. Countdown clock for my departure is looking to be 1 week.
Yes. Woohoo!
Yeah, you say woohoo right now as you're going, I really am sad.
It's everything has lined up for you to go beautifully. We got you a place to stay for a ridiculously low price.
Yeah.
And then we have all we're waiting on is
we got the furniture. We've got a car lined up. We've got Sam's Club, which was a ridiculous story. That's neither here nor there. But
so I was complaining. I didn't want Chris to go and spend $45 for a Sam's Club membership that he's only going to use for 3 months while out there, and then
that's randomly, a quarter of the year.
And then randomly throughout the year when we go. And I was like, no.
But
no.
It wasn't 45.
Yeah, I
it's
know.
technically 30.
Because you had a $15 gift card. Yeah.
They give a $15 gift card to sign up.
And we go shopping for our weekly groceries. And who's sitting there with their little booth and about ready to close in 30 minutes?
I know, that was just ridiculous.
Was the people signing folks up for the new Sam's Club that's opening up in Jeff City, which is about 50, 60 miles away from us.
Which is a lot better than 100+ miles, like the other two.
Right.
As people are probably listening to this going, I have one just down the street. Why do you have one 50 to 60 miles? Well, that's because we live pretty much in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we're in the boonies.
Yep.
And yet we're really not, because there's folks out there that actually live in the country.
They really do live in the boonies. Yeah, not us.
So there's the Sam's Club membership. So of course we signed up for the Sam's Club membership. Whatever. Okay, fine.
My bed turned out to be really cool.
Yeah, you got a bed that folds up into
a couch that actually folds up into a bed, makes into a bed, and it's inflatable, so it's like college kind of feel. It's kind of cool.
And it's a lot cheaper than going and buying a bed that you're only going to use for 3 months and then sell it.
Well, I probably would do a rental one of those rent-to-own stores.
But still, that's like $100-some bucks a month.
I know.
And right now, all we're waiting on is our title to our car, because I lost it.
No, you never got it. They only sent a copy. That's the thing.
Oh, that's right. They only sent a copy of it.
Yeah, we never knew.
So we're waiting on our car title to put up for our collateral for the loan, because it is a hefty loan.
Yeah, folks, if you've ever done a loan of any sort, I've never done one this big. It is a fun little thing. And you really have to have... Your credit is only part of it. They still need collateral to know that, for some reason this loan ends up, not being paid, we're at least getting something back. So... luckily, was able to write up a good loan, have a great loan officer who's been able to do all this.
With a very low interest rate.
Oh gosh. In this time and age, 2015, when we're still economically in the garbage, we still got a ridiculously low interest. So that was awesome. So, as I said, we're about 1 week away. Now, like we said in the previous podcast, that is not going to change anything with our podcast. It's just going to be where we're going to record the show in two different places and put it together.
We'll see.
Would you stop biting me, mosquitoes? I'm going to walk in the house with with a bunch of bumps like I did last year. That was fun.
Well, see, it might be 2 weeks because we still have to get your equipment.
Yeah.
We have to wait for our title to get to the loan to get to your equipment.
I'm still hoping Memorial Day.
We're really hoping that Memorial Day you're taking off.
Yeah.
He's leaving me, folks.
Again.
I'll be a single mom for 3 months.
Again.
Oh my gosh.
I figure I do it every other year. It's just my way of life.
So, we gotta get your equipment, and the equipment, oh my gosh, your equipment's a lot more expensive than my equipment was when I first started.
Back in my day when I started grooming, my equipment was cheaper.
We
had a piece of stick. That's all we used.
Bells and whistles. They want you to have 3 different types of combs to comb out the dog. They want you to have a little portable clipper that is small enough to do feet. And all I had was 1 clipper, 2 shears.
Back in my day, folks.
A comb, a book on how to groom.
I have to have that book, though.
And a slicker brush.
Yeah.
That's the new shears. That's all I had.
No Dematter? No, you have Dematter.
Yes, I had a Dematter, but I wouldn't have bought my own because the Dematter that my kit came with sucked. But, you had to have 3 different styles of nail trimmers.
Yep.
And all these different things.
Well, I can understand 2 different styles.
The kids nowadays that have to groom. The kids nowadays, they're all the good stuff.
The kids nowadays. Oh boy. Okay, old lady.
I've been grooming over a decade now, and I'm seeing all these nifty, cool inventions for grooming that makes life so much easier. I'm like, why didn't I have that stuff when I started?
What the what?
Yes.
What the serious what?
I told you I was gonna steal half your stuff when you get back.
And don't worry, folks, she will. That's not a joke. With that, so you guys are up to date on that. Now, I posted this yesterday on our Facebook wall for the Groomer Next Door podcast. We are actually decided, you know what? We're going to do a second podcast as well.
Yeah, because we don't have enough going on as is.
No. Let's throw more into the mix. We're actually going to start a new podcast. It's already registered, and we already have copyright on it. But it's going to be the Movie Watchers Next Door. Now, that was a good call by you. I like the name. I love the name.
Did I come up with this name too?
No, that was me. Well, you came up with the podcast network. Our network is going to be door-to-door podcasts because at some point, we've always felt that this was going to be the flagship podcast, and then we would have other shows. Now, obviously, you have to be a pet lover to be on this, to listen to this show. This one's a little bit more intricate than our new one.
A lot technical and more news, more.
This is serious. This is a harder show to put together.
Clean.
Yes.
As best as we can.
The Movie Watchers Next Door is a simple podcast that is going to be like a book club. But instead of a book, it'll just be, this week we're going to be watching this movie. So if you guys want to follow along, you can actually listen, watch the movie,
And it'll probably be pretty funny because we'll be pretty hardcore and...
Oh, yeah.
Just know our language isn't going to be the same.
No, we're going explicit, so we can pretty much just let whatever we want to say. We'll try to keep it to the mild extent, but we won't keep it as clean, so it won't be the radio-friendly.
Especially if we go over movies like Django.
Yeah.
Or Wolves of Wall Street.
Yeah.
You got to...
You're going to have to be explicit and detail what's going on. So... we want to focus a little bit more on movies that we grew up watching, movies that were way before we were born, different, cult classics, trilogies, different things like that, and, talk about those movies, our take, did they hold up?
See, because Chris and I have a total different viewing of movies. The only movies that we could really agree on is comedies.
And Marvel. Yeah. Oh, well, we both agreed, though, Christian Bale did a pretty bad job on that. But, again, though, tune into that podcast.
I don't see Affleck being better.
Oh, gosh, no. I saw him in Daredevil. That was terrible. So, it's things like that. We are very much movie aficionados.
So we're not...
And movie snobs.
Yeah, you're not going to listen to us and we're going to agree on everything 100%.
No.
There's going to be disagreement, so it might be a little heated.
It'll be fun.
He might sleep on the couch a few times.
Maybe. And we're hoping to bring in more than just us on the panel. I'm hoping Brent will come in, his brother Cliff, Maybe Brent's wife will come in on it for the female take. But we want to actually make a podcast that's, also what we're very passionate about. We love movies, we love video games, we love, pets. We have a very broad spectrum of things that we like to do. So we decided, what, we're going to throw another podcast together. It won't be, an hour show. It'll be probably a half-hour show. Try to keep it locked into a half hour. And that'll be coming here soon. I don't know when, but...
We gotta watch our first movie.
Yeah, I like to do one. I like to release one this week, but I don't think that it'll happen.
Rhymes with turtle? You get the conclusion to that joke
coming soon.
Yeah, coming soon. Okay.
All right, so that's the news that we have to share. Now, in the news this week, we have a couple stories that, one's funny and one's not funny. So let's lead with the not funny. Give me my vegetables. There's a movie line for you. Yeah, if anybody could figure that movie line, I'd really, yeah. Okay.
You got me stumped.
It was Fast 5, I think. Yeah, it was The Rock. I have good news and bad news. Give me the vegetables. Meaning bad news.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so this week in news, there was a wonderfully ignorant woman. And
I want to use wonderfully ignorant.
Oh, she
horribly ignorant.
Well, wonderfully as in it made the news, and I hope this woman is... She's a real-life Cruella de Vil, and you will actually be able to understand why she's a Cruella de Vil in a moment.
Pitiful excuse for a human being drowns a 3-week-old puppy in a toilet. See this woman making a sad puppy dog face? Don't feel sorry for her. In fact, let's hope she gets a lot sadder because she deserves it. Florida resident Cynthia Anderson was in Nebraska and decided to take a few Doberman puppies home with her. When she got to the airport, however, she was told U.S. rules do not allow dogs on planes until they're over 8 weeks old. Anderson's puppies were just 3 weeks old, meaning their eyes hadn't even opened yet. Anderson came back to the airport the next day, this time with 2 older dogs in cages, and the Nebraska Regional Airport let her through. But when Anderson got to security, officers were shocked to find she had one of the tiny puppies in her carry-on bag. Barred again from boarding the plane, this 56-year-old Cruella de Vil entered a restroom and drowned the puppy in a toilet. Thankfully, someone noticed the bitch and she was busted and charged with a felony. She's currently locked up in Hull County Jail, and we hope she stays there for a very long time.
Well, that woman, let's just leave it at that. Her mugshot, she looked so pitiful. But you know what? She's a real POS. So if you didn't know before now, a puppy actually has to be at least 8 weeks to actually be able to fly on a plane. I would imagine, as Sarah had pointed out when we were discussing this, I would imagine would have to have its puppy shots by that point. I would imagine.
Well, I mean, an honest to goodness, respectable pet owner would know you don't take your pet anywhere unless it's got its puppy shots. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to make sure your dog is vaccinated and protected. Take him out into the world of nothing but diseases. So I would think it'd be common sense that, for one, breeders don't give out puppies until they are old enough and to have their first set of puppy shots. So what the heck?
What the what? I don't understand it. I don't understand it to save my life. It's one of those. What were you thinking? I would have to ask the question. Because there's still a lot of questions I don't have. Why was she, flying? Was she staying with somebody and saw these dogs and decided that she wanted to take some home with her? I just hope that, this is where, go back to the registry. This is where it all comes down to, yeah, you can't stop these people from picking up, free dog to good home in the back of a truck at a Walmart or Target or whatever parking lot. That's where those people are causing more problems, because obviously they give dogs and cats out to people who will harm them. That's why we're always trying to tell people, please don't do that. But at least the registry would, this lady would come up as a red flag. TSA would say, well, this lady's not even supposed to have a dog or cat. And then she's arrested for violation. Kind of goes all the way back. So, yeah, what a real jerk. I'm going to use that as the best way of actually, considering we have a clean podcast.
Yeah.
You want to add
some choice words.
Oh, I have a few choice words on that.
But these are the people that don't deserve to live.
No, they don't. At least put them on a registry so that, the animals that do deserve to have life can be rid of people like this. Alright. And our other piece of news of the week. I love celebrities in the news. I absolutely love celebrities in the news. They have some of the best stories and some of the worst stories at the same time. Like last week's Barbara Streisand's dog ended up biting a flight attendant on a private jet. That was, that made me laugh. This week, about the same kind of laughter almost. This week, the story is Johnny Depp was involved with his dogs. And what happened in that story, well, caught my attention. So I'm going to let you listen to the clip and then we will discuss it.
A gentleman by the name of John Christopher Depp, 51 years old, otherwise aka Jack Sparrow. And he has decided to bring into our nation 2 dogs without actually getting the proper certification and the proper permits required. Basically looks like he snuck them in. We found out he snuck them in because we saw them taking it to a poodle groomer. Now, Mr. Depp has to either take his dogs back to California or we're going to have to euthanize them. He's now got about 50 hours left to remove the dogs. There is a process if you want to bring animals in. You get the permits, they go into quarantine, and then you can have them. But if we start letting movie stars, even though they've been the sexiest man alive twice, to come into our nation, then why don't we just break the laws for everybody? So it's time that Pistol and Boo buggered off back to the United States. Mr. Depp has to either take his dogs back to California or we're going to have to euthanize them. He's now got about 50 hours left to remove the dogs.
Johnny Depp needs to get his dogs out of Australia fast. The 51-year-old actor and his wife Amber Heard have until Saturday to remove their Yorkshire Terriers, named Boo and Pistol, from the country after failing to report them to the authorities.
He has decided to bring into our nation 2 dogs without actually getting the proper certification and the proper permits required. Basically looks like he snuck them in.
The couple flew their pups in via private jet last month and weren't discovered until they were getting groomed. Australia's Agriculture Minister, Barnaby Joyce, says they can't just let this slide.
There is a process if you want to bring animals in. You get the permits, they go into quarantine, and then you can have them. But if we start letting movie stars, even though they've been the sexiest man alive twice, to come into our nation, then why don't we just break the laws for everybody? So it's time that Pistol and Boo buggered off back to the United States.
ET has reached out to Depp's reps for a comment. But what are your views on the hashtag War on Terrier?
What I'm saying is, you sound like an absolute clown telling the guy to bugger off back to Hollywood or we'll kill his dogs. You sound like an idiot. You should have reworded your statement. Sound like a classy guy. You're a government minister, not some idiot off the street mouthing off to a news camera. Have some decency.
This call, it seems interesting coming from you, mate. You're the number one.
Oh, shut up, Barnaby. No, but you're an absolute joke, Barnaby. You get 5 minutes on the radio or in the news camera. I'm going off because you sound like an insensitive wanker. That's what you sound like, Barnaby.
You're a savage little man, aren't you?
Don't need to.
No, I'm not even a little man. I'm 6'1", Barnaby.
Way to go, Prime Minister of Australia. Boy, you became the bonehead of the week. And not only in your own country. The last clip, part of that clip that you heard was an actual DJ in a radio station in Australia going off on their Prime Minister. Now, Sarah and I discussed the story when I recorded it. You know, here's the thing that the takeaway. Johnny Depp, he doesn't put anything together. No celebrity of that caliber put their travel arrangements together. They have PAs, which is a personal assistant. They have people who handle all their travel. The studio itself.
Yeah, all they say is, I want my wife.
Yeah.
And my dog's
It's
with
part
me.
of the rider.
That's it.
A runner, not rider. Part of the runner. A runner is a document that every celebrity submits. Obviously it's their PA or something that submits it. They want different foods, transportation, their stay, everything about what their demands are to be on the set of a movie, TV show, etc. is all in this runner. And I'm sure that having his dogs was part of it. Now, you could say, well, it's his own fault for not getting the documents done. That's the part that actually comes into no, somebody else dropped the ball. Part of his staff, whether it was, Disney, who was actually making Pirates of the Caribbean, whether it was them, somebody in that portion, they dropped the ball. His personal assistant dropped the ball. Somebody dropped the ball. I'm sure, it's one of those, somebody made a mistake, but boy, way to go, Prime Minister, to absolutely be stupid about it.
The part that you and I can totally agree on is the simple fact that the Prime Minister is a flippin' retard.
Yep.
This guy is so ignorant, and he is nowhere near professional.
No, not for a politician. Well,
I
he's
mean,
a good politician because he's a moron.
But there's no need to state that Johnny Depp won Sexiest Man of the Year twice.
Yeah.
There was no need to put that there.
Yeah, or bugger off. Slain by a professional, especially in that area, should not be using those types of language.
What it does is it takes the people who live in Australia and just make them look worse to the world.
Yes.
That's why the radio host stood up and said something. Look, you are not our representative. This is not how our country runs. And how dare you portray it like this?
Right.
And, we have our own officials in the U.S. to do the same thing. Make us all look like fat, lazy slobs who can't do anything for a living, living off welfare.
Right.
When in fact, there's a lot of us that work our tails off, who are kind and considerate to immigrants, and who give everybody equal opportunities.
And don't care about race, gender,
yes,
sexual preferences,
orientations, or gender confusion, blending, whatever it is. We're not like that, even though the country loves to portray us like it.
Right.
So this Prime Minister going out and saying that he's going to euthanize the dogs, and if, like you pointed out, in one clip, they actually took that part out.
Yes.
He knew he shouldn't have said that. He did say it, so he was trying to cover his tracks. His PR is trying to cover the tracks there. And someone who actually got the true recording still has it there and out in public.
Well, his statement, I captured his statement, and then of course Entertainment Tonight did a small piece on it. They actually kind of watered it down. They watered it down a lot. I liked the. I just wanted to make sure I gave you guys a full range of what was out there. It was ridiculous. I'm going to look at it this way. Now, I'm a Pirates of the Caribbean kind of fan. I love the trilogy. Great, I think that was Disney's first attempt at trilogies gone right. And now, of course, you see what they did with Marvel and how they made that work. But when you look at a production as big as Pirates of the Caribbean, do you understand how much money that's bringing into the country? And furthermore, Johnny Depp he didn't, it most likely his wife or PA did, but they brought their dogs to a local groomer. That means that they actually are flushing their own money into the country.
Yes.
Which, right there alone, folks, that's everything. So it's like, you got a production, a very big production that has to have all kinds of licenses and agreements and everything with locals, union people from the local area, giving them lots of work. And a movie like that is going to have a lot of people working.
And you watch the movie all over the world.
Yeah,
you know that is Australia. How beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's going to exhibit.
It's gorgeous.
Yes.
And just wow, stunning.
Yeah, it's going to make people want to go.
My thing is that the part that is correct that I do believe is that his dogs shouldn't be treated any different than some other person coming into the country.
Right.
Everybody should follow a strict guideline and a strict rule.
Yes.
The problem here is that I know for a fact that Depp did not have anything to do with this.
Nope.
It had to do with only the studio.
His people dropped the ball, or the studio dropped the ball.
But most of the time, I don't ever see the U.S. saying, you did not register your dog, you did not quarantine your dog, so therefore we're going to kill it unless you get it out of the country.
Right.
No, they take it and they quarantine it themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll have to pay for the quarantine fee. Yes, you'll probably be cited.
Yes.
And have to pay that. Yes. But they're not going to threaten your dog and say, if you don't get him out of this country in 50 hours, we're going to get your dogs and kill them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm surprised they didn't move production.
I'm very, that's
a lot of you probably don't follow movies as close as I do. Johnny Depp has actually been on multiple movie sets in the last, we're in May. In the last 6 months, I know that he has been on at least 3 to 4 different movie sets for different movies. And they range anywhere from Canada to the US, Australia, Europe. He has been all over the place. And, he lives in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure it might be his daughter's dogs as well. I'm pretty sure, if you have never seen, and here it goes to our other podcast, but if you haven't seen, I'm drawing a blank now.
Oh, come on.
Help me.
Tusk.
Thank you. I wanted to say walrus. If you haven't seen Tusk, Johnny Depp's daughter is in the movie.
You're off the show.
I know, right? Johnny Depp's daughter is in that movie. Well, her and Kevin Smith's daughter are really good friends, and the two of them are actually starting to do different TV or movies. They're out there now trying to do this. She may not be available. Plus, the school year's ending. Probably doesn't have the time. So, as a responsible pet owner, he's actually taken his dogs to make sure, hey, I'm not going to abandon my dog for 3, 4, 5 months of shooting at a a kennel. I'm going to take him with me because I love my dogs. I'm going to commend him for that one alone.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're able to take your dogs with you and still give them a proper life while gone, then yeah, take them with you.
Yeah.
It's not a slam to people that have to drop their dogs off weeks at a time at a kennel because they can't take them for business.
Yeah.
He's just lucky enough that he gets people on their knees doing everything they can for him.
Right. So I gotta commend him for that one. He can leave it at his house and have somebody come over every couple days. Every
couple hours.
Yeah, to feed his dogs. He's actually going out there saying, you know what, I'm going to keep my dogs with me so that I can give them the attention, the affection that I want to give them.
Yeah, and Yorkies aren't very good left alone for too long. They need people around. They're very social animals, and they love their humans. So, he had it in the right. He wanted to take his dogs with him. He didn't want to just leave them at home with relatives or strangers or their maid.
A dog sitter.
Yeah, they want to take them with. But how dare the Prime Minister say those things? That is just ridiculous.
You definitely got the bonehead kind of award for that one.
Yes, definitely bonehead move.
Yep.
And
yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah, you need to go through the proper channels.
You do.
But if you are a business person, but isn't Johnny Depp, but still a business person that someone else handles all your affairs, there should be some part where Johnny should have said, hey, look, is my dog taken care of? That would be my first thing.
I would imagine that at this point, you just go to a car takes you to the airport. You get on a private jet that obviously probably wasn't his. It probably belongs to the studio or it's a rental. You get on that plane. You go to where they're telling you to go to. everything is supposed to be handled. And in his aspect, he's an A-list celebrity. It should have been handled. Somebody honestly needs to lose their job.
It's not just
I'll take
one
the job,
person,
by the way.
but
I'm available.
When you get on that plane at the tarmac, people already there should have made sure the paperwork was in order.
Yeah, great.
And then when he got off the plane, that's when they should have made sure that was paperwork in order.
It should have been submitted to the country.
So many people have dropped the ball on this, but yet Johnny Depp himself
Gets
is
criticized.
getting reamed a new one.
Yeah.
By a absolute ridiculously just moronic prime minister who doesn't know how to put things poetically.
Nope.
Or
he needs a podcast.
Professionally.
We need to give him a podcast. Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. We've pretty much covered the crap out of Depp for that one. So moving on. Pretty much going to be coming to a close on the show here very soon, but I wanted to actually talk briefly about a couple things. Dogs, and summer is coming up, and I wanted to make sure that we covered a couple things, just some information so that you're able to, have some awareness. And we covered it, I'm pretty sure, last year, but maybe you weren't tuning into the show last year. So we wanted to cover a couple things on the summer, just things to look out for, because, summer's here. Anything you want to start with while I load this up? I'm stalling.
In most part with summer, you have to make sure your dog doesn't get overheated. Most dogs, people think most dogs get hot because of their coat. And so they go in and ask us to shave them. I will not shave a husky. I will not shave an Akita. I will not shave a German Shepherd. Now, if it's a long-haired Shepherd that's matted and you can't do anything about it, well, then the coat has to go.
Right.
I will not shave a Malamute. I reluctantly shave Corgis. Reluctantly. But they all need their coat to help them keep cool as they move around, and it's extremely important during the summer to keep your dog brushed out. Make sure that the undercoat is taken out. Make sure that the hair can move freely. Because what it does is that as the hair moves around, air pockets get trapped underneath the hair, and that helps them keep cool. And as they move, the heat is released and cool air is moved back in. So that's why you should never shave your Akita, your Husky, your Malamute, don't shave them. Trimming them is one thing. If you want to make sure that the bulk of it's off, that's one thing. I'll do it, but shaving is a different story. Like if you had a Malamute, or not Malamute, excuse me, a Samoyed, or a standard American Eskimo. They need their hair. They need it. But if it's like 6 inches long and they want half off, well, 3 inches is still enough hair to keep the air trapped underneath. So just make sure your dog is deshed. Oils are removed properly, not all the time, and don't go a year in between bathing your double-coated dog.
Very true.
It really needs to be every 6 months or every 3 months. Katana really needs it every 2 months because of her bad skin or her allergies.
Yeah.
But that's basically my number one thing for double-coated dogs.
Another thing, worry about heat stroke. Heat stroke occurs when your dog's body temperature rises dangerously high.
Yep.
That's to start with. Worry about that first.
The way you can prevent that, if you have a large dog that has to be an outside dog, put a wading pool, a little kid's pool you can get at Walmart for $30. Fill it up with water. Let them play. Dump it out. Give them some more fresh water so they can play in it again. It helps keep them cool and gives them something to do. Some dogs don't know that's where they're supposed to go into. They might think that it's just a ginormous drinking fountain or a water bowl. So you gotta, coerce them into it, get them used to, hey, this is okay, this is fun. I know a lot of actual kennels that do this, that have a big, huge wading pool and let the dogs jump in and get all wet and soggy and stuff like that. But it's a great way to keep them cool.
The next one is sunburn. Dogs can burn in the sun, just like people can. White, light-colored, and thinly coated dogs have an increased risk of sunburn. sunburn problems to prevent some ways to prevent it is apply a waterproof sunscreen formulated for babies or pets. Be sure to cover the tips of your dog's ears and nose, the skin around the mouth, and its back.
Yeah, I would definitely do the dog one versus the baby.
I would too.
But that's another reason why you don't want to shave a dog down that's going to be in the sun for a long period of time. When a dog comes in so matted, we have to strip them down. The first thing I tell them is be careful, they can burn. Their skin will burn, and it's not pleasant for them.
Nope.
Their eyes can get burned. The skin around their eyes, their little nose can get burned. Just make sure there's shade if they're in the backyard, or if you're going for walks, make sure it's on a shady trail.
Yes.
Shaded trail.
The next one is burned foot pads. Sidewalks, patios, street, sand, and other surfaces can burn your dog's foot pads. Walk your dog in the morning and at night. When outdoor surfaces are coolest, press your hand onto surface for 30 seconds to test them before allowing your dog to walk on them. If it is painful for you, it will be painful for your dog.
That's pretty accurate. Yes.
Pretty much self-explanatory on that.
I have seen dogs' pads get burned off. They were so hot, and they walked for so long, their pads, the black part of their pads, was gone. It was just raw. Come on.
It's common sense. If you're walking barefoot, you kind of get that. Now, dehydration obviously is very common. Everybody knows how to prevent it. Just pretty much provide your dog with unrestricted access to fresh and cool water, both indoors and outdoors.
Yes, cool water, not cold.
Yeah.
Okay. You can put a few ice cubes in the water to keep it cool. Do not put a lot of ice in there. Don't make it cold water. Because if they're drinking cold water, it can twist their gut pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because you're taking a hot temperatured belly and you're freezing it real quick. It's going to knot it up. It's going to constrict. It will definitely not. It'll give them cramps. So you want to make sure it is cool water and not iced cold.
Right. The next one for all of you, now that summer is coming up, you may have already done this because springtime is also a nice time for it, but campfires and barbecues. If you're going out and you're going camping and you're bringing your pup with you, your dog may try to take a burning stick from the fire, which are hard to retrieve since they think that you are playing when you chase them. Food that is stuck in barbecues often, or after cooking, can tempt your dog to lick the barbecue and burn its tongue or mouth. Lighter fluid is poison and should not be left where your dog can reach it. Keep your dog away from barbecues and campfires unless it is on a very short leash.
That's pretty accurate.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Yes.
Things, these are all things just to think about. Now, of course, we have 4th of July coming up here in just a couple months. So, fireworks. Some fireworks look like sticks, which makes your dog think that they are toys. The loud noises and sudden flash of fireworks can disorient and startle your dog, causing it to run wildly. If you cannot avoid being around fireworks, then keep your dogs on a very short leash or in the house.
Benadryl. Give your dog some baby Benadryl or whatever the dosage the veterinarian recommends for your dog. Benadryl will help calm them down and keep them it'll still keep them alert, but it will at least calm them a little bit. When 4th of July comes up, we'll talk more about that.
Yes. Now, again, back to the camping situation. There are chemicals in water. It is no secret that most dogs love to swim. Swimming can be fun for you and your dog and helps prevent heat stroke. However, if you have a pool, chlorine can irritate a dog's skin and upset its stomach. Rinse your dog with fresh water after swimming in a pool and do not let it drink more than a small amount of pool water. Standing water, such as puddles, can also be dangerous for dogs to drink due to presence of antifreeze, oil in case that somebody decides to do that and leaves it to go down the drains, or other chemicals. Provide your dog with fresh water to drink whenever possible.
Yeah,
also, think about with rain. We had rain. You have muddy water right there, which could also have bacteria.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I railroaded you on that.
It's the bacteria that forms in standing water. In standing water, you have where mosquitoes and stuff like that come from. And heartworm is mosquito-oriented. So you want to make sure your dog is definitely protected in the summer for heartworm all year round, but especially summer. There are some nifty things that you can buy from the store that the water bowl collapses on itself.
Yes.
Or it wrinkles up into a little bag, so it's easier to contain. You just pour some water in there, leave it out, and let them do what they need to do.
Very true. And finally, getting lost. Take care when traveling with your dog during the summer to prevent it from becoming lost in unfamiliar surroundings. Always have someone watching your dog. If it is off its leash, a collar with a contact information tag should be considered. The minimum safety precaution microchips your dog if you desire more reliable identification. These summer safety tips apply for dogs in general, but no one knows your dog better than you. If your dog is well behaved around food, for example, then it may be safer to let it be near a barbecue. I'm going to disagree. I don't think that you should have your dog near anything that's going to be hot. Do not be afraid to let your dog off its leash to run and enjoy summer, but be aware. They wrote that terribly. Be aware of what possible dangers may be nearby before you do so. If you have a fun summer dog story, please let us know. Tell us in one of our show comments. Let us know different things. We get a lot of people who post things on YouTube, which I actually had a really cool story this week from somebody who watched the Akita video that we did. Posted a really cool comment. It was a lot of fun to actually read. We love actually hearing things from all of you, different stories that you guys share with us about your dogs. You can simply just comment on iTunes on the show. There's a simple thing that says comment. Leave us a comment. Leave it on YouTube. Leave it on iTunes. Would definitely love hearing all about you and your pets. It's a great way to be able to connect with our show and be able for us to connect with you. And every time you guys comment, I'll always respond with some kind of response back. So, again, thank you guys for, commenting different places, whether it's our Facebook page, it's our show. Thank you guys for being a part of this. And I think that actually will conclude episode 77.
Yeah, I think that's
you
pretty
good? Do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
Nope, you're good?
No, I think that's good.
All right, well, and we will let you guys all know when the Movie Watchers Next Door actually premieres. And have a pet-tastic week, everybody.
And you threw me off.
I know.
You totally threw me off.
I'm Chris Green. Have a pet-tastic week.
Thank you. If there's not a routine, there's no point. I'm Sarah Green, making sure everybody realizes life is short. Play with your pet.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, gotta go in my bedtime.
Was without doubt the worst episode ever. Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.